Okay, we're on page 81 in your journal. So we're going to be talking about writing equations. There's a little bit of expression in here just to show you the difference between expressions and equations. And so expressions will can contain a variable, or they might not contain a variable. So for example, an expression could be 9 plus 3. Okay, no equal sign. Even though you can solve it, it's just an expression. All right, and the equation would be 9 plus 3 equals 12. That's an equation. It has an equal sign. So in words, remember we learned lots of different ways to say this, but we could say 3 more than 9. Our answer would be 3 more than 9. And then the equation in words could be a lot of different things, but we could say 3 added to 9 equals, or we might say is 12. Okay, that word is can also mean equal. So an algebraic version of the expression, I could leave out the 9 and put an n, so it would be n plus 3. That's an algebraic expression. It has a variable, it has a symbol or a letter that stands for a missing number. All right, so the equation version of that, okay, again, it needs an equal sign. So 9 plus 3 equals 12. So you could not solve this unless I told you what n equal to. But you could solve this because you know something plus 3 equals 12. Okay, so they're going to give you word problems, and they're going to want you to write equations, all right, and then not necessarily even solve them, okay? It just depends on what the question asks. So let's look at this one. Bill scored 13 points in a basketball game. His teammates scored X points, okay? And they put a little hint here, all together. So his teammates, if we added all their scores together, they would be, as a team, they would score X points. So they're not telling you how much the team scored. The total points of Bill's team was 44 points. Okay, so they're going to tell you what's on the scoreboard. So Bill scored 13, his teammates scored some more, and total, all right, so I want us to get into the habit of underlining important words. The total is 44. So they're giving you an addition equation, something plus something equals something. All right, when it's addition, your total is going to go here. All right, so if we were to write this in words, it would be Bill's points, however many points that Bill made, plus his teammates' points would equal the total points that you would see on the scoreboard. Okay, so they're helping you set up an equation. And so they gave you that Bill scored 13 points, the teammates scored X points, and the total is 44 points. So however you want to do it, if you want to circle the numbers, if you want to underline them and put arrows to them, however you want to do it, that's up to you. So Bill's points was 13, plus his teammates' points equals 44. So another way that you could write that is, because of the commutative property, these two can be switched. So you could write it as x plus 13 equals 44. That's another way that you could write that equation, and it still be correct. Okay, so let's look at this one. Craig has a fish tank that contains 11 fish. There are 4 guppies and Y other fish. Okay, so the fish tank contains 11 fish. There are no more fish than just 11. So that right there is the total. So sometimes when you get a confusing problem, this one's not so confusing, but if you do get a confusing problem, sometimes labeling the total, or maybe figuring out that it's asking for the total can help you break down and do set up an equation, or just figure out what to do, whether to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So they want us to write an equation. This is all about writing equations on this lesson. So Craig has a fish tank that contains a total of 11 fish. There are 4 guppies and Y other fish. So right here, they're not telling us. They're giving us a variable. They're giving us a letter. Okay? So we are going to take the guppies, okay, plus the other fish. Then that will give us the total fish. All right, so now let's write our actual equation. How many guppies? 4. Plus, how many other fish? Well, we don't know right now. Y equals a total of 11. All right, so how else could we write this? We could also write it Y plus 4 equals 11. Because of the commutative property, we can switch the terms, the order of the terms. We can change the order of the terms. So could there be other equations that we could write? Yes. There could be a subtraction equation. We could say 11 minus y equals 4, right? And some people want to just solve for y and say, well, you know, y is 7. Well, that's good, but I don't want how many other fish there are. I just want you to write an equation, okay? All right, so look at this other way that they might ask us about equations. So they might determine whether the given value is a solution of the equation, okay? So right now, x is what's missing, and they're telling us that x equals 32. So it's saying, okay, the given value, which is this, if we substitute that 32 in there, is it true? Will it actually equal 46? So 14 plus 32, if I add those together, that is actually 46. So is 32 a solution? Yes, it is. 14 plus 32 is actually 46. So now we're going to say 5 times r equals 31. So then we're saying that r is 13. So remember, when they're squished together like that, that means to multiply. So basically 5 times, what is r? They're saying it's 13. Is 5 times 13 31? No, it's 65. So this right here is not a solution to that equation. Okay, so let's look on the back. Number 1, we're on page 82. Which situation cannot be represented by the equation x plus 10 equals 55? So we kind of have to think about what we know about addition. Okay, well, we have to think, well, there's something, and then we're going to add 10 to that, and it should equal a total of 55. Okay, so let's look at A. Rosalind spent $55 on a dress and a vest. So we bought 2 things, we added them together, and it was $55. The dress cost $10, and what is X, the cost of the vest in dollars? So I could say the dress plus the vest equals $55. Is this equivalent to this? Well, this is X plus 10, this is 10 plus X. So yes, I would say because of the commutative property, I can change the order of these. So let's look and make sure we didn't make a mistake. B, Milo drove his car 55 miles last week. He drove, okay, so that right there is last week. He drove 10 miles on Thursday and the rest of the miles on Friday. What is X, the number of miles that Milo drove on his car Friday? So he drove Thursday plus Friday, and that equaled the total miles, right? Okay, so on Thursday he drove 10, on Friday he drove X, and the total miles that he drove was 55. So again, that looks very similar to this, okay? We want one that cannot be it. C, 2 players scored a total of 55 points. 1 player scored 10 points. What is X, the points scored by the other player? Okay, so we have 10 points scored by this player. Another player scored X points for a total of 55 points. That looks similar again to this, our original problem. D, there are 55 students in a group. There are also 10 teachers in the group. What is X, the total number of students and teachers in the group? So they're wanting us to add together 55 plus 10 to get the total. So 55 plus 10 to get our X, which would be 65. Well, if I put 65 here, 65 plus 10 is not 55, all right? They're not treating 55 as the total like it should be in an addition equation, okay? They're treating it as the part. Because remember, when you have an addition equation, you have part plus part equals a total, okay? And they're treating this 55 as the part, not the total. So it's going to be the one that does not fit in with this original equation. All right, let's look at number 2. Magnets cost 55 cents each. A pack of magnets costs $22. Which equation can be used to find M, the number of magnets in one pack? All right, so magnets cost 55 cents each, but they're sold in a pack. So total, it costs $22. I'm not going to spend more than $22. So I'm thinking they gave me the total, and we're talking about packs, which are kind of like groups, all right? So I'm thinking it's going to be either multiplication or division. If they've already given me the total, then I need the total to be in the total. Let me explain. I need the total, like if it's a multiplication, I have something times something equals something, right? So on a multiplication sentence, if I'm saying something times something, I'm getting the total right here, okay? If it's division, if I'm saying something divided by something equals something, my total in a division problem goes here because I'm dividing that total up into pieces. So if I want 22 to be my total, my 22 either needs to be here in a multiplication problem or here in a division problem, okay? And we're talking about groups, so that kind of leaves out subtraction and addition. So is my 22 in the total spot here? 55 cents times something is 22. Yes, my total is in the right spot. 22 times some M is 55 cents. They're saying 55 cents is the total. Well, it's not in this problem, so it's going to be A. All right, let's look at number 3. Marilyn has a fish tank that contains 59 fish. There are 7 piranhas and F other fish. Which equation represents this relationship? Okay, so we have a fish tank that has 59 fish. So they're giving us the total because we have some piranhas and some other fish. And together, there's 59 fish. So I, just not even looking at these over here, I would say 7 plus F equals 59, which can also be written as F plus 7 equals 59. So let's see if that's there. 7 plus F, nope. 7 plus F, no. 7 times F, we don't have groups. Okay, so my 7 plus F is not there. So obviously they're thinking they want it not written in addition, they want it in subtraction. So in a subtraction problem, okay, you have to think of where your total is. So what's happening in subtraction is you have something and you're taking something away, and you have what's left over here. So you have a total, and you're taking away a part, and you're left with another part, okay, in a subtraction problem. So if 59 is my total, it needs to go first. So they wrote it as, okay, I had 59 total fish, I took away the 7 piranhas, and what was left was those other fish, okay? This says I had the piranhas, and I took away 59 fish out of the tank, and I'm left with the other fish. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't match this. So it's going to be D.